Hey everyone, Poor Things is out in theaters, and it's nothing like you would expect from the trailer. Or more accurately, it was only partially the kind of film I expected after viewing the trailer. So, my review is going to get into the important spoiler that will help some people decide if they are comfortable watching this movie or not. And I think this is really important for reviews like this. It's really the purpose behind them to help people figure out, is this something you want to see or not? So if you want to find out what that is, definitely you can check out the spoiler bit in this review. So let's get into Poor Things, which is an intellectual step into the cinematic theater of the absurd that explores human identity, scientific ethics, and the boundaries of polite society, among other things. Poor Things is a wildly bizarre coming of age story for Bella Baxter, a woman who is brought back to life with no knowledge of her past self and with the intelligence of an infant that evolves over the length of the film as she interacts with the world around her in this hyper stylized version of Victorian like Europe with a childlike sense of wonder in an adult woman's body. Bella sets out on her own version of the Grand Tour, an international adventure that educates, stimulates, and unleashes her appetite for knowledge and experience. So here's the spoiler, and you can skip ahead if you prefer not to know, and that's okay. Given that the trailer seems like it might appeal to older children and teens, you should be prepared for lots of scenes of wild, rollicking sex that are funny and shocking, and also utterly bland and boring in other cases. It really covers the gamut. This spoiler is meant to set expectations since the trailer's itsy bitsy tiny whiny R rating at the end of the video is almost impossible to catch. This film features Bella's exploration of the world as her intellect grows from a childlike intelligence to an adult perspective of the world, including the relationships and friendships that she develops during that time, and her comfort with and enjoyment of her own sexuality in an adult woman's body as her mental age evolves. If you are at all uncomfortable with watching sex, and I mean a lot of sex and nudity, you might want to avoid this movie. Totally your call. However, I should note that there is no violent sex in the film. Bella is always in full control of what she does and what she doesn't do. But Poor Things really does match or even outmatch Game of Thrones for sexual content. Poor Things is a visual cinematic delight. It is a masterpiece level work from the art direction to the cinematography, the set design, costuming, the color palette and textures, the musical score, and the layered story structure, and so much more. It does so much. What I love about the film is how the combination of visuals and sounds and camera work all converge to heighten the tension and drama at specific moments in the film. This, paired with the exceptional acting of the core cast, really creates a unique cinematic experience. Emma Stone's performance as Bella Baxter is exceptional. There are three parts to her performance that deserve attention. First, her physical movements perfectly convey Bella's mental evolution and growing mastery of her physical motor skills, creating an organic understanding for the audience of where she is on that growth evolution. Second, her facial expressions are powerful physical cues that externalize Bella's thoughts, conveying story without words. Finally, her voice and speech patterns pull the character together in a holistic way that feels natural and seamless. Willem Dafoe plays Dr. Godwin Baxter, Bella's creator. Godwin's nickname is God, and it has so many meanings, so many different meanings in this film. He's a brilliant and visually deformed medical genius. God feels like a parallel character to Frankenstein's monster, since he is also the product of his own father's medical experimentation. Then we have Ramy Roussef, who plays Max Candles, the doctor's assistant and Bella's early handler who falls in love with her. He has an honesty and a sweetness to him that is surprising, and it makes him feel like the good guy within the film, despite being swept up in a bunch of questionable and unethical situations. Rounding out the quartet is Mark Ruffalo, who plays Duncan Wedderburn, a slick and fast-talking lawyer who becomes obsessed with Bella. With his performance in this film, Mark Ruffalo sheds his superhero typecasting and just reconnects with his acting roots, creating a compelling character full of conflict. He is fascinating and unlikable a lot of the time, while still generating empathy for his situation. He also shows his comedy chops in subtle ways that will have you laughing at awkward and inappropriate moments. His performance is one to remember, and when he and Emma Stone are on screen together, you can't take your eyes off them. The biggest problem with Poor Things, like I mentioned earlier, is that the trailer does not accurately represent an important aspect of the film's content. You can watch the spoiler section of this review for that information if you skipped ahead and you really want to know what it is. So the film also only lightly touches on the ethical implications of God's choice and the choices that he makes all along when bringing Bella to life and in the way that he did it, and then not telling her about any of it. He just leaves it unspoken for her to discover on her own. It does get addressed. Yes, it does get addressed, but it also quickly gets sidelined because of other more pressing events that come up in the story. Poor Things is a visually stunning and unexpected film that you need to experience to understand. There is so much story and so many layers of meaning that I think it could take multiple viewings to fully understand exactly what is happening with the interconnecting themes of love, feminism, identity, freedom, and society. Despite the uncomfortable bits, there is so much that I enjoyed in this movie, from the visuals to the constant questioning of social norms and the acceptance of some things along the way. It really doesn't do what you expect it to do while also doing exactly what you expect it to do. It's so fascinating how they pulled the whole thing together. There is definitely an audience for this film. However, I think that there are a lot of people who will also find Poor Things really difficult to watch because of Bella's unflinching exploration of her place in the world, her sexuality, and her childlike perspective throughout much of the film. Poor Things is one of those movies that you're likely to either love it or hate it. But I think that everyone who sees it will at least appreciate the visuals and the cinematography. I hope that you found this review useful. If you did, please be sure to subscribe for more videos and let me know what you thought of Poor Things. Was it for you? Did you like it? Was it what you expected? What did you think of the story or the cinematography? Or was it just all too much over the top? Definitely let me know. Thanks again, everyone, and happy viewing. I'll see you soon. Bye.